Hello everyone, thank you for attending my presentation. My name is Adam Beresford-Browne and I'm a PhD researcher at the University of Birmingham, England, funded by the UKRI NERC through the Centre Doctoral Training Programme. I am a mature student and professional geologist, having worked internationally for 2 decades as a hydrogeologist on a range of projects. My research at Birmingham is focused on the understanding of the stratigraphy and emplacement of the Antrim Lava Group. I started my research at the end of September 2019 under the supervision of Drs. Carl Stevenson and Sebastian Watt at the University of Birmingham, external supervision from Dr. Rob Raine at the Geological Survey of Northern Ireland, and project guidance from Dr. Dougal Jerram. Within the first year, I was fortunate to have met several more very experienced geologists who have kindly given me and my research a lot of help and focus, and I'd like to personally thank everyone listed here for all of their collaboration and contributions to my work. Some of you may be asking, where is the Antrim Lava Group? Well, it is part of the North Atlantic Igneous Province and is a plateau of flood basalts that mostly flowed onto a Cretaceous chalk landscape from fissures and vents around the same time as similar volcanicity was happening in West and East Greenland, the Faroe Islands, and the Western Islands of Scotland, primarily Arran and Skye. As you can see from the slide, I've placed a red box over Northern Ireland to draw your attention to the location of the Antrim Lava Group. The Antrim Lava Group currently comprises 3 formations: the lower basalt, the interbasaltic, and the upper basalt formations. Part of my remit from the Geological Survey of Northern Ireland is to consider whether any edits are required to this potentially outdated stratigraphic model. I've also been asked to consider if we should bring the nomenclature of the Antrim Lava Group in line with guidance set out by the International Commission on Stratigraphy. More on that later. On this map of the northeast of the island of Ireland, you can see the extent of the Antrim Lava Group in various shades of pink. The darkest pink to the north of the map shows the extent of the causeway tholite member basalts, which sit within the interbasaltic formation. The upper basalt formation is the lighter shade of pink, and the lower basalt formation is the remaining mid-tone pink. The quarries visited in autumn 2020 are labelled, as are the locations of 19 Lonmin boreholes that were cored and subsequently donated to the Geological Survey of Northern Ireland. And just for reference, the Tawdry rhyolite is shown in yellow to the south of Ballymena near the centre of the map. On this image, which is part of a work in progress, I've put the chronostratigraphic dates for the start and end of the Selandian Age on the left. The dates for the clay with flints and the co-conglomerate are courtesy of Dr. Mark Cooper at GSNI, who is also working to increase our understanding of this fascinating period of Earth history. The eagle-eyed among you may have noticed mention of the Ballycastle Clastic Unit, and I will tell you more about that shortly. Over the first year we had limited opportunities to visit Antrim, but fortunately had access to a mountain of information provided by the Geological Survey of Northern Ireland. Among these data were logs, geochemical and magnetic data from 19 borehole cores that I mentioned. Here is a composite sketch of basalt flow emplacement on the y-axis, depth, thickness, against approximate time on the x-axis, based on a 20,000 years per metre of weathering for fresh basalt. This plot was generated from just one Lonmin borehole log, in which the site geologists had taken care to log weathering in detail. I should mention at this point that we didn't consider compaction or erosion in these early estimates. Interestingly, the different curve steepness in this plot suggests that the volcanic activity that created the upper basalt formation was more eventful than that of the lower basalt formation. Once I was able to visit the core stores in Belfast, I relogged and sampled around 1 kilometre of Antrim Lava Group core, taking a special note of the crust, core and base for each flow. The log on the left of the image here is the scale model of one of such borehole core, where I've tried to use a graphical method to create an accessible portrayal of the volcanostratigraphy. The sampled horizons are noted to the right of the strat column, followed by a data graphic for each element reported in the geochemical datasets provided by GSNI. And this work is ongoing, and we're finding some strong indicators that point towards flow groups or packages that we hope to be able to correlate over the wider area. A related thread to the previous stratigraphic column is using wireline data that was provided by GSNI. These are limited in number and were mostly submitted by energy companies as they submitted their site investigation reports. Dr. John Millett has been a patient and excellent collaborative partner in this regard, taking time to both help me understand WellCAD software and also understand the geology behind wireline data. And the image here shows one of John's recent plots where we've tried to identify specific flow packages based on geophysical data. And I'd like to thank Dr. Timo Korth of Advanced Logic Technology for his kind donation of the software to my research. As we touched upon in the sketch graph of volcanic timings, much of the actual passing of time did not see much volcanic activity. Each event likely lasted less than 1 or 2 years, estimated based on the Lackey Fissure eruptions in Iceland in 1783-84. This means much of the geological time presented by the Antrim Lava Group passed in between the volcanic events during periods of quiescence. With this in mind, I struck up a collaboration with Professor David Jolly of the University of Aberdeen, who is not only well published in the fields of palynology and volcanology, but is also very interested in the North Atlantic igneous province. Our initial work has told us 2 interesting things. Firstly, that the basalts were essentially submerged by bogs, lakes and rivers during times of quiescence. And secondly, that the palynological assemblages point towards a temperate climate rather than the subtropical climate previously proposed by those when discussing the origin of lateritic horizons within the Antrim Lava Group. So continuing with palynological investigations, I'm delighted to present for the first time that we have discovered a unique and interesting sedimentary interbed within the Causeway Tholeite member near Ballycastle. The sedimentary unit comprises cross-stratified and bedded sands and silts, rich in organic debris such as rootlets, bark fragments and even tree parts. And David discovered that the palynological assemblage near the base of this unit also has a weak marine signal, suggesting inland estuarine conditions at the onset of deposition. Discussions with Drs. Mark Cooper, David Jolly, Rob Rain and Mike Sims currently lead us to believe that the unit chronostratigraphically lies within the Causeway Tholeite member of the interbasaltic formation and represents a hiatus of 20,000 to 40,000 years. And Professor David Jolly and I are currently working through the palynological evidence and look forward to sharing our findings with you as soon as we are able. So I'd like to thank you all very much for listening, and very special thanks to David, Brendan and Margaret and all of the VMSG committee for organising this fantastic conference. Thank you very much.